everyone, so today I will be showing you how to create this really cute figurine of Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog. This is my own original design and I spent a couple hours designing it and I really hope you guys like it. Let's get started. Today you will need your hook, your loom, and rubber bands in the colors of neon green, caramel, black, and white. All my supplies today were purchased from the Rainbow Loom web store, and my caramel is in a little sequins bag because my rubber band bag ripped. And you will need just a little bit of black, as you can see I'm running out. And without further ado, let's get started. Before we begin, we need to change our loom from the offset position to the square set position. So basically I'm just going to put my fingers behind the middle pin bar, pop it out. And then now I'm going to reset it back in and make sure all the pins are parallel. As you can see, I did color my arrows gold down here just to make it easier when I'm showing you guys how to do stuff. And we're ready to start. So I'm going to start with my arrows pointing down just because it's easier to see the big picture when we're putting bands on. And since my arrows are pointing down, we're going to start putting bands on from the top down to the bottom. And first we are going to go ahead and start with a neon green and white bands, and we're going to put it going vertical. Now I'm taking neon green bands, and we do kind of switch off during this part. We are making the extension for Princess Tiana's dress, so that way it looks like it's poofy. And those are 2 neon green again. 2 neon green again. Now we're taking 1 neon green and 1 white. 1 neon green and 1 white. 1 neon green and 1 white again. So now you should have something like this with a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands, each mixed like this, and you can pause the video here just to check. And now we are going to go ahead and put some horizontal bands on. For the first horizontal band going from this pin to this pin, we're going to use 1 neon green, and for all the other ones we're going to be using double neon green bands. So double neon green, and basically you just put them horizontally from pin to pin all the way to the bottom, including these two, and I'm going to fast forward right here. So now you should have something like this with horizontal bands going all across, double bands on all of these ones, and single bands on just this pin right here. We are now ready to start the hooking process, so just before you start, make sure that your arrows are pointing down and the flat side of the pins are towards you. And I'm just going to go inside this horizontal band right here, pick up these bands here and put them upwards, and basically you're going to make a single chain all the way to the top, just ignoring these horizontal bands right here. So I'm going to speed this part up right after I do this one, and go. So now you should have something like this. My band slipped off here, but that's okay. And you should have hooked all the single chains that go upwards and just left the horizontal bands alone. And now we can take this off of our loom, but make sure that you don't take this pin's bands off, just because remember they are the loose bands that are holding all the other bands together. So I'm just going to take everything else off except for the bands here. So now I have finished, and you should have a small little chain with loops like this, and we're going to go ahead and make a one just like this, except we're going to do it on the opposite side of our looms. So once again, we're going to start with our loom's arrows pointing down, and we're going to start putting bands on from the top to the bottom. And first I'm taking a neon green and 1 white and going upwards. We're going to be doing the opposite thing that we did last time. 2 neon green, and what I mean by opposite thing is like we're gonna put the single chain here and put horizontal bands going inwards. 2 neon greens, 2 neon greens again, and for the next 3 we're going to be using 1 white, 1 neon green. Doesn't really matter which one goes on top. So you should have something like this, and now we're going to go ahead and put horizontal bands on, except we're going to do something a little bit different this time. This time for the top band right here, we're not going to be putting one single horizontal band. We're just going to skip that pin and go here. And so all the bands from these two pins down are going to be double neon green bands. So I'm skipping this top pin and just going double neon green on this pin. And we're going to do that all the way down our loom. So your loom should look something like this, and now we are going to go ahead and hook all the bands that are the single chains. So we're going to start at the bottom of our loom and go inside these horizontal bands, hook the single chain bands right here and go upwards. Basically you're going to hook the single chain all the way up just like we did last time, except the single chain's on the right this time, and just leave all the horizontal bands alone. So you should have something like this, and now we're going to take off this little strip of single chain bands, except we're not going to take off the ones on this pin because they are the loose bands that are holding everything else together. So you should have something like this. And now we are ready to go ahead and start making Princess Tiana's dress. For Princess Tiana's dress, we will be following this pattern that I drew on this template paper that I got from madebymommy.com. And we are going to be using double bands for this. And as you can see, I did put the words double looped there, they're upside down. And also the black bands represent white bands. So let's get started. So I'm starting out with double caramel bands, and I'm going to put them upwards, and we're going to skip these two this pin right here because we have bands holding on to those up there. Going to go to the left with double caramel bands again, and double caramel bands again. Now I'm taking double neon green bands, double neon green bands again, and double white bands for the middle. Now for these three going horizontally, we're going to be using double neon green bands. And we're going to be using double neon green bands for these next three as well. Now we have finished Princess Tiana's upper body, so we're going to get started with her skirt now. I'm now taking one white, one neon green, putting it upwards, and we're going to do that for these two pins as well. Now I'm taking white and neon green, and we're going to put these on this pin right here and these two pins right here, not these ones. So one white, one neon green. But for this middle one, we're going to be putting two neon greens. Now we're going to be using double neon greens for these next three sets of bands that we're putting on. We're also going to be doing double neon greens for these next three sets of bands that we put on. Now we're using double neon green for this left side and the right side right here. But for the middle, we will be using one white and one neon green. And from now on, we will be using one white and one neon green. So now you should have something like this, and now we're going to go ahead and get started with putting on the horizontal bands on her upper body. So for this part, I'm taking one single neon green band, and I'm going to put it horizontally along these 3 pins, and I'm going to double loop it. So I'm going to twist it and put it on top of each itself, like that. And I'm going to do that for these 3 pins here again. And now we're going to go ahead and use the 2 little extension pieces that we made earlier. So I'm going to take my hook, and first I'm going to use this right piece right here, and I'm going to put my hook in and transfer these bands to my hook. Now we put 2 horizontal bands going here that are double looped, and so I'm going to start on the next pin on the bottom, take these bands, put them on your finger kind of like this, and slip them onto that pin. Like that. Now, like in a triple single, we always have to have horizontal bands, except our horizontal bands are going to be these loops that are on our single chain. We are only going to put these loops on the 2 outside pins, though, on closest to the side with the single chain. So I'm going to start here and grab the top 2 horizontal bands on my single chain, and then I'm just going to slip them onto these 2 pins here, like that. And now I'm going to take the next 2 like that, and I'm just going to keep putting each of the double looped bands all the way down to the bottom of my loom. So now you should have something like this. I put all the horizontal bands on the outside 2 pins closest to the single chain like this. And basically we're going to do the same thing with the other extension piece we made. So I'm taking my hook and I'm going to stick it inside this pin and grab these bands here. Now this part is going to be a little bit different because we do have 1 single band right here. Now I accidentally forgot to put double bands here, so just ignore that. Mine's a little bit different, but it won't affect how the project comes out later too much, so I should be fine. And you should have something like this now. So now we're going to do what I told you we would do with this little single chain here. So first we're going to take our hook, and over here we have these top 2 bands on our single chain, which is 1 neon green and 1 white. So basically I'm just going to take these and put them on my hook. Put your hook down for now. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this single band and wrap it around twice. So I'm going to twist it upon itself, but I'm only going to put it, I'm only going to fold it over and put it on these 2 pins on the outside. So only on these 2 pins. So I'm just going to let go right here. Now I'm going to take my hook and replace these bands back on top. And now I'm going to take the top 2 bands right here, which are 1 white, 1 neon green, and I'm just going to take them off and put them on my hook like this. And now the band that we double looped that we only put on the second pin here, we're going to move it over to the other side, use our hook, and reattach this band right back there. So now we have put a double looped band underneath these 2 single chains in like the middle. We are almost done, but before we start the hooking process on Princess Tiana's body, we have to make her arms. So to make Princess Tiana's arms, first we're going to start with a single white band and wrap it around our hook 3 times. Now I'm taking double white bands and sticking my hook inside, and basically we're going to make a single chain with double bands. So I'm just going to take these bands that we wrapped around our hook 3 times and slide it onto the double bands. like that. And now I'm basically just going to fold the bands back onto my hook. We're going to make 2 more links with double white bands. So basically I have it on my hook and I'm just going to slide these bands on. And do the same thing one last time with double white bands. Now we're going to do 3 links with double caramel bands. So 1, 2, 3. And we have finished. Now we can go ahead and put this on our loom. So I'm going to put this arm on her left side first on this pin right here. And basically I'm just going to pull her arm and stick my fingers inside the loops that are on my hook and then transfer them to this pin right here. Like that. And now we're going to do the other arm on this side. So I'm going to go a little bit faster this time, but I've zoomed in just for y'all to see a little bit better. So I'm just going to wrap this around my hook 3 times. Double white bands. Double white bands again. And for the last time, double white bands. Like that. And now we're going to use double caramel bands for her arms. And now we can stick this on our loom. So we're going to stick this on her right side now, so I'm just going to stick my finger inside these bands and transfer it to this top right pin here. And now we are finally ready to start the hooking process. So the hooking process is pretty much just like a triple single, but I'm going to show you how to do this first part just because it's a little bit tricky. So first I'm going to start on this left side here, and instead of going inside this band, I'm going to go on the outside and grab the one white and one green band, neon green that we did, and hook them up there. Now it's going to look a little bit weird at first, but we'll fix that later. This is just that we don't have loops at the end of our dress. So now I'm just going to go on the outside of this other side here, hook them one at a time if you'd like. Like that. And now the middle pin's a little bit different. We're going to go inside all these bands here this time and grab the 2 double bands here that are one white, one neon green. And basically the rest from here is a triple single. Now you should know how to do this before you start making this pattern. So basically I'm going to do triple single all the way to the top, and I'll meet you back up there so we can take our stuff off together. So now for this part, I'm going to go inside all these bands, including the bands that are part of the arms, and grab the double caramel bands that make up her shoulders and like collarbone bone area. And just grab those, hook them on. And lastly, we're going to do the bands that are on her neck. Now this part is a little bit tricky just because there's a ton of bands here. So kind of search around. And we have now finished Princess Tiana's body. So we can take this off our loom now. But before doing that, make sure that your loom looks like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my bands off now. So I'll fast forward. So now you should have something like this, and it's okay that it's kind of in the middle of your loom. But remember how we did the little weird hooking process over here? So those bands kind of went up to the sides, so basically you just pull them down. And this way, these looped bands that are horizontal stay in where they're supposed to be. So if they're sticking up on the sides, just go ahead and pull them down. And so now her skirt is flat and we don't have loops sticking out. So now we're going to go ahead and start putting rubber bands on for Princess Tiana's head. I'm going to start with Princess Tiana's hair. First we're going to start with double black bands for her hair, and I'm just starting at the bottom of my loom. Double black bands like this. Oops. Double black bands and double black bands again. Now I'm taking a single black band and wrapping it around this pin 3 times. Now I'm going to start the hooking process, so I'm just going to go inside my cap band and grab this band right here. And be careful because the cap band likes to slide off during this first hooking thing, so just kind of hold it down. And then hook these bands and these horizontal bands and then these bands here. Now we're going to make a little tie off sort of thing, so I'm just going to put black bands going that way, go inside all these bands here on my pin, grab this black band here like that, pull it up and through this bun part here, and stick it on this pin here. So basically we made a single chain coming off of the bun. Now I'm going to take this bottom band here and just pull it up and over. Take this band here, give it a tug to tighten, and now we can take this off of our loom. And we have Princess Tiana's bun. So as for this little thing sticking out, I'm just going to stick my hook kind of in a random spot inside her bun and just kind of pull this loop through just to kind of hide it. Like that. Now set this to the side and we're going to use it again later. I'm going to start Princess Tiana's head. So her body is up here, so I'm just going to kind of start in the middle of my loom, kind of where my giant base plate is. I'm going to start with double black bands and we're going to go horizontally. Horizontally again. And double black bands. Double black bands again. Now we're switching to double caramel bands, and we're going to use these through these 3. And also on these 2 bottom ones for her chin. You should have something like this now, and at this point you're going to want to grab Princess Tiana's bun right here, and I have the cap band right here, and I'm just going to slide the cap band onto this very top pin right here, like that. Now we're going to start one of the hardest parts of this thing, of making this figurine. So first I'm going to double loop this horizontal band of caramel across her face like that. Now we're going to make Princess Tiana's eyes, so I'm going to wrap this black band onto my hook 5 times. For those of you who are less experienced using rainbow loom, 4 times works just as well, but I like a tighter look on her eyes. So now I'm going to take this band that we double looped horizontally and pull it off of her face, kind of. And then I'm just going to grab my hook and pull on this horizontal band. So now I'm just going to kind of grab these black bands and slide them onto and over my hook. So grabbing these black bands, grab them and slide them over your hook. So kind of pull them over. And this is a really hard thing to do, so if you don't get it on the first try, and if it takes you a while, don't get frustrated. I have trouble doing it too. So slide them over your hook, and then they should be on this horizontal band. Now kind of scoot them down, and now we're going to place this double looped caramel band back onto the pin where it was. Basically we have our looped black band that was looped 5 times on our horizontal caramel band. So we're going to do the same thing to this side for her left eye. So loop this black band around my hook 5 times. Like that. Now I'm going to remove this side like that. Grab it again with my hook and slide these black bands onto this caramel band. Like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and replace this caramel band that we double looped back onto its pin. And you should have something like this. Now, before we start the hooking process, I'm just going to take my hook, put it inside these bands on the body's neck, and replace them on this pin right here. Like that. And now we can start the hooking process. So I'm just going to go inside here, grab these bands that go across, same to this side, and then hook the bands that go upwards. Hook the bands that go upwards again. And now these horizontal bands here. And the right side. And we are almost finished. We have to do one last thing, which is put on the bands that hold everything together. So I'm taking double neon green bands here, and basically what I'm gonna do is go inside of this pin and then grab these double neon green bands. So go inside of this pin, make sure you hit the very bottom of this pin, circle around kind of, which makes all the pins go on your hook. Kind of scoot these bands over and use your hook and grab these bands over here. Now it's kind of hard, so you might want to like stretch the bands a little bit with your fingers to kind of help your hook grab them. Pull them in with your hook into the pin here. Like that. And now I'm just going to kind of turn my loom with the band still on my hook and put them here. This part's a little bit tricky, so just grab all these bands and put them on your hook. Lift them up and put them on this middle pin here. Now the bun is kind of in the way, but just ignore it. Like that. Now what you want to do is scoot the bun in between these two little bands here. So I'm just going to try to squish the bun in between those two bands like that. And now what I'm going to do is grab the bottom layer of bands here, and I'm going to pull it over. It's the 2 double neon green bands on the bottom. Pull it over like this, except you want to get it around the bun. So get it to the base of the bun like that. Kind of tug on her bun just to make sure that the bands are down there. Grab these 2 neon green bands, give it a little tug for tightness, and you are ready to take off your creation. So I'm just going to stick this back on. Make sure that Princess Tiana's head looks like this before you take your creation off. And now I'm going to remove her from my loom. And we are almost done. As you can see up here, we have these bands sticking out. And what you want to do is give them a slight little tug first. And this is kind of going to be like the band that goes around her bun, and I think it really complements the dress. And so you're just going to kind of wrap it around her hair like that. And if you'd like, you can leave it like this. I kind of like it because I like how it kind of swirls like that. But if you don't like that look, you can always take this band, double it again and wrap it around her bun once more to get a look that's more of like a band around her bun instead of a crowning look. But I personally like this kind of crowning look better. And that's pretty much it. So I really hope you guys like this tutorial. It is my own original design and I spent a couple hours designing it. I really apologize for the super late delay of the uploading of this video. I had final exams going on and then it was really hard to find time to film and edit. But hopefully this makes up for it. Coming up next, I have a new bracelet tutorial. I do not believe that there is a tutorial on this bracelet yet. It is completely new. And after that, I will be posting a Cinderella tutorial. Please follow me on Instagram. My username is down below. And on Instagram, I post tons of new updates. And I always post new bracelet designs of mine. So don't forget to follow me. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!